Alright, welcome everybody to another episode on how to make a RNG game. I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded in a while. I know it's been actually like about a month, I'm sorry for that, but I am actually on summer holidays and it's been already a week from my summer holidays, but let's not get into that. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna be fixing our inventory so we can actually start with the aura equipping, or like fix our button so we can actually look at what aura that we're currently selecting. So that's what we're gonna do today, and we can just get directly started. If we open up our inventory handler inside our underscore inventory UI in .gui, we can go all the way down to our load inventory and we can get to our inner frame right here. This guy we can also change to the aura instead of the new aura, because I also realized that it will work exactly the same. So if we go ahead and go a bit further down, we can just directly say new aura dot activated connect to a function. Right, so what this is gonna do is basically fires this function right here as soon as we clicked our button inside our inventory. So obviously, if we were to click, let's say, the basic aura, we want to change everything inside our inventory. So this frame right here, the holder F, and it would be the aura info, actually no, the main aura info, right? Inside here we have a bunch of different holders, but if you go to the furthest down one, you have the two text labels which we need to adjust: the aura name and the aura rarity. Right. Then we can close this back and disable our UI, and we can get directly started. Inside here, as soon as we've activated that, we already have a bunch of data which we can transfer over. So we firstly need to find our holder F. So we're gonna do a bunch of new variables up here. We can do holder F, which is the script.parent, wait for child, and holder F. If you go a bit further down, we are gonna need our main aura info as well as the inner, and then the holder. You can directly jump to that. Local main aura info. Since it is just a bunch of strokes and frames which we don't actually need, we can just do script. Actually no, do holder F, wait for child, then we need the main aura info. And also I've realized from my coding experience, which I have done in the month that I was away, we are actually not gonna abuse wait for child anymore. We can just do dot main aura info, go directly down to inner, and then directly down to our holder. If this were to fail, we can do the last one, wait for child holder, and this should work exactly the same. If it still doesn't, we can implement a little wait up here, where we say local character is equal to the player, this one, dot character, and then all you have to do is say repeat task.wait until character, like this. So what this does is it waits until the character is fully loaded in, and then we should also be getting this one instantly. So once we have that, we can just do print and then our main aura info dot name. This should actually, let's do dot parent so we can check if it's the holder, and if we get out, okay, so it didn't actually print out anything because we didn't really click on anything yet, right? So if we were to click on any of those, you can see it will print the inner, which is actually true. It should be the inner because we're looking for the holder. That's completely fine, that's what we're doing. So once we got this holder right here, we are gonna be able to change the aura name and the aura rarity inside this. So grab your main aura info, go ahead and do aura name dot text, which we're gonna change to the aura dot name. For the main aura info dot aura rarity, you can do the same thing which we did further up. I also realized that we actually did not do that in fact. Right, so we're gonna need a bunch of fixing beforehand, but we can actually try if this works. So if we were to start the game, click on this, you can see it changes and it works perfectly fine. Alright, so the only problem that we have right now is that we actually don't transfer the color of the aura, like the title of the aura, something like this. We are not transferring that color right now, as well as the rarity. So we are gonna need to get our aura table right here in replicated storage. We can do this by going all the way up here and saying local replicated storage. That is gonna be equal to game get service replicated storage. Then we can go down here, grab our modules, which is gonna be replicated storage dot modules, and then aura table or aura module we can do is gonna be equal to modules dot auras. There we go. Now that we have our aura module, I also realized that we are gonna require this. That's my error. As soon as we require this, we are gonna be able to use all of our data right here. So let's go back down into our thing that we wrote here. We can go ahead and do for. Actually, let's not nest for loops into each other. Let me think. The easiest way is actually a for loop. That's the only thing we can do. So for k comma v, which I haven't used, in I pairs, because that's a table. Actually, we can do pairs because it's a module script. That works. Then we can do, we are gonna loop through our module in pairs, that's fine. And then as soon as we've done that, we have the index, which should be just the table itself or the number at where we're at currently. And then the value, which is gonna be one of those tables. Right. Let's say we want to change the main aura info dot aura, let's do rarity, sure, we can start with that. Then we do dot text, that's gonna be equal to, let's do those brackets, sure, that will work. We are gonna be doing one in, and with those curly brackets, we are gonna be set a variable inside of those. So we are gonna be grabbing the v, and with those different brackets, we can actually grab any index. So we need the rarity, which is the index of 2. So would be 1, because a Lua starts tables with 1. This is gonna be 2, and this should be 3. So if you want to grab the rarity, we do v2. If you want to transfer the color, we can do this by saying main aura info dot aura name dot text color 3. It's gonna be equal, sorry, 1. No, actually v3, sorry. Right. As soon as we've done that, we can hit play and test it out. Basic. That's a red for whatever reason, and they are not transferring correctly. Right. Why is that? Because right now it just loops through all of those tables and ends with devilish right here. But we actually need to find the correct table. So what we need is we can cut this out by saying Ctrl X. Then we need a if, right? So if we say if the aura dot name is equal to v1, then it is the exact same thing, and we can do this. And then we can just do break for optimizations. If we were to play, you can see this is correct. Basic is 1 in 5, common is 1 and 2. And you can see basic is a bit darker than the common, because obviously it is, yeah, the color is just like that in the aura table. My bad. So now that we have this, we can actually go ahead and also change the other colors inside our main inventory. So if we were to go up here, we can do the same for loop as we done down there. Pick this and say if aura.name is equal to v1. If we were to do that, we can do the same thing. So inner.aura_name dot text color 3 is gonna be equal to v3, and then inner.aura. Okay, what did we call it? Let me check actually. Alright, we don't have the rarity inside this template. Sorry, my bad. We only need this right here. If you were to hit play, you can see the color of basic gets transferred over into our inventory. You can barely tell that because basic is just a bit darker than common. So I can just go ahead and roll something else. Alright, there we go. I've finally got something with color. So you can see the rare has a blue color. Now, one thing we could do is change the UI stroke so it is a different color, but this, I think we're gonna do something else. Maybe something like Souls did, where the color of the stroke is actually dependent on how rare something is. So maybe like 1 in 1000 is pink or something, instead of just the plain white we have right now. But this we can change in the future. So obviously you're thinking, when are we gonna be able to equip the auras? Well, that is something we are gonna do in a future episode, or just the next episode in general. But for now, we are gonna, actually no, we're gonna start with equipping the auras right now. Because we can, you know, we have the time. So let's get started. As you can see, this aura pack that I've made right here, yep, this pack, this is actually a template which you are allowed to use in my Discord server. Link is in the description. So if you were to grab all of these auras and put them into replicated storage, we can basically just use them. One thing, if you've watched my previous episode on how to actually create those auras, you should know that in every single part that you have right here, you are not allowed, or like you should not rename any of those parts. You can delete them if you don't put particles in them, that's fine, but just make sure that their name is exactly the same thing or the same part name as your character's body part, because that is very important. And also, if we have anything inside of a part, you can grab the basic. Let's say our humanoid root part right here has a part inside of it, right? If you were to do a aura using a part for like a floor attachment or whatever, the only thing you have to do is basically go into the properties, check maskless and custom physical properties, open those up and set everything you can to 0. Density cannot be 0, it is slightly above 0, but that's completely fine. Just make sure everything is as low as possible. If you have that, you also need to make sure that it is not anchored. There we go, it isn't anchored, and that you cannot collide with it. And if you want to actually anchor it to a part, what you need to do is grab a, let me think, a motor 60. And if you grab this motor 60, you can rename this to, let's say, the part we have right here. And then you need the part 0 to be your parent attachment, so our humanoid root part, and the part 1, the part you want to attach, so part 1. Now that you have this, it is gonna look a bit wonky because it's gonna be in the dead center. But if you move it down to where you had it, it is gonna just stay there perfectly fine. Alright. So now let's get started. Inside here, we can do a new function. Let's say local function equip aura. And inside here we can do aura name, which is gonna be a string. Down here, where a button gets activated, we can, let me think. Actually, no, we can do this inside here. So if we go and check our button holder, right, we have a lot of this inside here. So these buttons are basically our equip buttons. Sorry, that was the wrong thing. This thing we need. Right, those buttons are gonna decide if we can equip something, delete them from our inventory, or just lock them in place. We are only gonna be doing equip in this episode, but that's completely fine. So if we were to go inside here, we are gonna go down here and we need a few variables actually first. So up here, local, we can do this below the holder F because it's in the same group. Do local button holder. That's gonna be holder F dot button holder dot inner. There we go. And since inner is the last thing, we can wait for it. That's fine. Now that we have that, we can go down here, grab our button holder. Let's do equip button dot activated, connect that to a function, and then we can do equip aura on the aura name. So the aura name is basically gonna be the main aura info, right? We can grab it from there. So let's do main aura info dot aura name dot text. Also make sure, just one thing real quick, if you go into the game and open this, you can see it is gonna be common, but that's not quite what we'd like. This needs to be a blank value. So if we were to open our inventory UI again, we need some adjustments. So inside our holder, inside our button holder, right here, also ignore those messages down there. If you were to go inside here, the R name, make sure this is something you currently have in your inventory, or like common. And what we're gonna do for this is we can say, let me think, actually no, we're not gonna be doing that. We can just go inside our inventory, grab both of those and set the visible to false. So we don't have anything equipped right now. We can close this up again. So inside here, we are just basically first gonna be checking if the button holder dot equip button dot visible is actually not false, or we can just do if it's visible, right? Then we can grab this, put it, okay, why isn't it working? Hello. Okay, there we go. Put this inside here. And then we can actually go ahead and print out the data that we're sending to test if it's anything we want. Open our inventory, we can click on those, that doesn't do anything. If we were to click, you can see it is basic, but it should not print that out. Why? Because we've set them to not be visible. There we go, visible is false. But why is this actually working? Because, you know, we have equip button not visible. That's completely my error, sorry. Let's go back into here and not say the equip button, but let's do main aura info dot aura name dot visible. There we go. And then if we go up here, down here, we can say main aura info dot aura name dot visible is true. And then the same thing for the rarity. There we go. If we were to go ahead and join the game, if we click on equip, nothing happens. But if we were to hit rare and then equip, you can see it works fine. That's great. Now we are gonna go inside our equip aura function and actually get started. So inside replicated storage, we need to grab our auras, which is gonna be replicated storage, wait for child underscore auras. This we can wait for because it is a folder inside replicated storage, but that's fine. Now that we have this, we are gonna loop through everything. So we can do local f aura for found aura. That's gonna be nil for now. So for I comma v in pairs underscore auras get children. So all of those. It's gonna be grabbing the name. So if v dot name is the same as aura name, then we do f aura is equal to v, break out of the loop. That's it. If f aura is still equal to nil, then return. And that's the end. We don't need anything else. So go ahead and print works. And then we do comma aura name to check which aura we have. So did it find the rare? It did find the rare, did it find basic? Did it find the common? Sure, that works. Now we can go ahead and actually start with equipping the aura. So go ahead and do for I comma v in pairs and then do f aura get children. Like this. What this does is it grabs every single one of those parts from one of those models, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically anchor them to, you know, our character. So go ahead and do local clone. It's gonna be v clone. Make sure to write it out yourself, and then we are gonna do clone.name. But first make sure this is a instance. There we go. If we were to hit this, you can see it grabs every single part inside a aura. That's fine. Now we can do clone.parent. It's gonna be equal. Okay, let me think. What we need. Alright, I'm back. So let me think real quick. We have our character up here. So what we can do is basically loop through every single part of our character. So in pairs, we're gonna do character get children. And then we check if the k.name is the same as clone.name. If it is, then we can do clone.parent. It's gonna be K. Then we can also do clone set attribute. Then we're gonna do is aura to true. If we were to hit play, open up the workspace and our character, you can see that we are still on R15. So I have multiple parts. If I were to equip rare, this should not work the same as it does over there. You can see it does grab the rare, but if we were to go into the humanoid root part, it is gonna clone this into here. That's fine, but it doesn't quite work yet. I mean, it found the humanoid root part, but we need to change our model to R6. So open up your game settings, go inside the places. Now the avatar tab has moved. Okay, that's new to me. I think it's under. Let me find that. Okay, I did not know that it changed. Okay, so that's completely new info to me. So I found the avatar settings. It is now located under avatar on the top here. If you now open up the avatar settings, you can see this tab has completely changed. So first we need to enable the preview. Then we can grab a bunch of characters here. We are gonna be switching them to our consistent style here. And we can actually go into here. It is a single collider, that's fine. That is also fine. And then we're gonna do standard R6. The animation clips is also fine. For the scale we're gonna do custom, that's also the same thing. And it looks about fine. Sure, I'm not sure about this though, if it's R6 or R15. That's what's throwing me off. Yeah, I literally have no clue if this is R15 or R6. So I think we just need to test this out real quick. But if you were to do the consistent gameplay preset, it looks like R6. So it isn't R6. Wait, okay. I need to figure this out real quick. So I will be back. Alright, I'm back. So I have found the setting that we need. On the top right of the avatar settings, you have 3 dots. And if you were to click them, you can switch to R6 only. There we go. It is pretty weird that they've moved them up there. But if you were to hit play, you can see I have the old parts and it works fine. If I were to hit rare, you can see the header got cloned. Now it also looks better. Like all the parts got moved correctly. Right. Now I can start with actually motoring them to the correct part. So I've cloned them, that's fine, but we need to adjust some parts. Let's say they are, let me think. The clone should be actually a part, not an instance. So now that we have the clone, this clone should be transparency set to 1. The anchored should be false, and clone clone.can collide should also be false. Then we can also do clone.maskless, that's true, and those are all the settings we need. Now we're gonna do local new M6 for new model 6D, or M6D, sure. This is gonna be equal to instance.new model16 and parent this to the clone. Actually, no, we're gonna do clone.parent. There we go. New model16 dot z0, I think it was. Let me check. Model60. No, the part 0. Right. Model60 dot part 0. That's gonna be equal to the k, and then the new model60 dot part 1 is gonna be equal to the clone itself. This we can also change to k. Last thing that we are gonna adjust is new model60 dot name. That's gonna be equal to the clone dot name. There you go. Go ahead and click play. Let's say I equip rare. You can see it is on me and I've equipped the aura. But for the unequipping part, that's something we are gonna do in the future. For now, I can just click on any aura I want, equip them, and yes, they do stack, so it looks a bit off. But I would say that's it for this episode. If you have any questions or any errors in your code, you can ask them down below in my Discord server. And I would say thanks for watching and see you in another episode. Goodbye.